Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game. When we last left off, we met Sarah Winters, who is the daughter of Lyle Winters, the guy who will supposedly change Harrison back to normal. Father, may I now present to you the 4 human children who have apparently traveled all the way from the Elven Kingdoms on the other side of Lelia in search of your help. Lord Uri, Mr. Dusk, Sir Harrison, and Master Lin. I like how she decided to come up with a title for each one of us. Do please make them feel welcome here, as all of our other friends have. Welcome. Please make yourselves at home. Judging from all Sarah has been able to explain to me already, I imagine that we have quite a case on our hands, so this may take some time. Forgive the previous words of my daughter, sirs, as I assure you she was completely innocent in having referred to you all as children like herself. Despite the truth that her fragile age, she could probably easily pass as a younger sister to any one of you. Another one of those teardrops. Father! So, I take it that you are our intended patient, Harrison? What was your first clue, old man? Giggle. Sir Harrison, please come closer this way so that Father may see you better. Is this okay? And of course, Dusk is gonna go hang out over there with his new crush. Yes, sorry to trouble you, but my eyes aren't what they used to be. Now, please do not be alarmed, but I am afraid that I myself must also use magic on you to determine the precise nature of the curse that has so changed your body's molecular structure before I can diagnose the proper means of curing you. And this spell may cause you to experience a rather unpleasant shudder. With your permission, I'll proceed. Fine, do what you need to. I must admit that I found Sarah's story a bit hard to believe at first. To think that a curse such as this could exist at all. I'm kind of surprised you don't know that, considering there are books on it. Elvenia truly has become filled with many strange and horrible things. Harrison's alarmed. That doesn't sound good. There is hope, however. My powers alone are not strong enough yet. If I were to borrow Lisa's... Father, you don't mean to suggest... If we were to retrieve your mother's pendant from her sanctuary, then I am sure I could use the magic Lisa left sealed within it to lift the curse. Still... We fear there may have been a great many demons who've made Mother's resting place their home in the last few years, so this presents a most unfortunate problem for Sir Harrison. That's no problem. The others and I can simply go down there and retrieve the priestess's pendant for you two. But this is a matter of life and death. How can you say that you would all throw yourselves into danger so carelessly, sir? I mean, I appreciate your willingness to undergo such a task for us, but... I don't think that I meant it quite that way, Princess. It's just that we have been up against monsters several times in the past, so if it's for a good cause, then it should not make such a difference to us concerning the part about there possibly being monsters we're bringing about down there. Besides, as Lyle said before, it's the only way to reverse the curse, right? Still, the demons that reside within must be far too powerful even for such headstrong warriors as yourselves. My friends, I fear that they would tear you apart with their very hands. How could you know that until we tried to do this ourselves, though? The unholy-sounding screams that I sometimes hear from below my feet as I kneel by my bedside to pray in peaceful silence each night are more than enough to freeze my blood solid, and I seem to be the only one in all of Kalinka who can ever hear them. Well, that's unfortunate. Have you considered moving? Enough terror is struck into my heart whenever my ears detect their hateful cries that I can guess of their frightful strength. Another teardrop? Oh, right. Man, what a strange girl. You're way too soft a person, I'm afraid. There's no need to worry so much about us. I'm too soft? Look, how could we have made it through the snowfields to here in the first place without due battle experience? To help out our homeboy Harrison here, it's just something we've got to take care of. Besides, at this point in our little adventure, quite frankly, I wouldn't expect it to be any less difficult for us to get anything of the slightest importance accomplished in this world as it is. Thanks a lot. Don't go getting all warm and fuzzy on the inside, bro. We're only helping you out of obligation. I personally think you're better off just the way you are now. I agree. Have you seen how much damage this chicken can cause in battle? He was the first one that was able to cause 100 points of damage. Turned into a chicken, and he's the strongest member of our team. Admittedly, part of this is that everybody else has weaker equipment, but still, that is an accomplishment. Harrison says with a scowl, "Dang you, Isley. Stop trying to act so cool, you idiot." Mind your own business, Priyan. As a reminder for anybody who is new to this stream, some of these message windows of people you don't see are the guardian angels of our heroes. Such as Priyan, she is one of those guardian angels. I understand. I suppose it is the right thing to do. It just occurred to me that Lyle and Dusk are using the same sprite, just different colors. Not that that's a big deal. There are only so many sprites available by default in RPG Maker 1, and in regards to custom sprites, your options are very much limited there. It would appear that you are all resolved. However, please hold this one off for tomorrow at least, as the hour is fast approaching sundown, and soon the temperature will drop below zero. Please, I insist that you four stay here tonight as guests of my daughter and I. It would not do for us to allow you weary travelers to spend unnecessarily for lodging at the inn. And if you all would be so kind as to entertain an old man like myself, I would be curious to hear more about the adventures so far that have led you all here. Aren't you as well, daughter? Indeed. I am also inquisitive as to the nature of the swordsman in particular who stands next to me. Cute smile. You, are much too kind to say that, Miss Sarah. Oh, please. Not again, man. Thanks for the offer, dude. We'll be glad to stay. Alright then. Sarah, would you please go prepare our guests' rooms for them now? As you wish, father. Yeah, also, in regard to Lynn's earlier remark, I actually do think it wise for someone to keep an eye on the man over here, so I'll be placing you in charge of that, Harrison. The minute you see Dusk's hand straying a little too close to Sarah's, like what seemed to be going on all this time that they were standing near each other, just snap at him with your beak or something. Harrison and Dusk both. Why you... Ares giggles. Oh, now why must you be so hasty to deny your adoration for the dear girl, Mr. Dusk? Miss Ares? Okay, well, I was actually wondering how they would be preparing their rooms, considering it was just these two rooms. Apparently we got knapsacks. And of course, Dusk would be the one to notice that Sarah has left. Oh my goodness, we got pretty music. This is about to be a scene. Sigh. Beautiful, isn't she? Inherited the wondrous gift of magic at birth, possessing a spirit as pure as snow. That was my mother, Lisa Emily Winters. As you can see, the people of this village still revere her as such, even after her passing away. She knew that I was here? Well, there's snow on the ground. Crunch, 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 crunch. If you wanted to be secretive, you should have stuck to the path. Dusk says aloud. And those traits, beauty and purity, are what her daughter seems to have inherited from her. Sarah lowers her head, embarrassed. Mr. Dusk, you think too highly of me. I don't know. I think it's, safe to assume when one is pretty. Dusk makes a nervous laugh. Ah, and so there is modesty to be inherited as well, it would seem. Teehee, I suppose I cannot help that. That's just the kind of girl I am. Are you curious to know more about me, by chance? Dusk turns red. I am, if I may be so bold to say. Ah, well, to begin, I am neither elf nor dwarf, but a human Elvenian just like you. I have lived a rather unadventurous and quiet life, and aside from the few times I have been obligated to travel into the nearby elven lands to perform my services as such, and just once to the holy city of Naraka, I have hardly set foot beyond the tundras. It must be a very wondrous experience to be able to see all of the other kingdoms that exist in this magnificent world, don't you think so? At least if they are half as beautiful as Kalinka is. I find this world to be quite beautiful, yes. Kalinka especially. However, I may simply be destined to remain living out a life of blissful content here, just continuing to be of service to others in their times of suffering whenever I can be. Oh! Hey, thank you for the bit. I am totally appreciative of that. Every little bit helps. The power to heal living things is indeed a precious gift, is it not? What? Mr. Dusk, are you saying that you possess this gift as well? By Lady Ares Tail None, the revered Sapphire Solus Emzu Angel of Nobility, I do. How strange. Then, might I now inquire of just what sort of person is this mysterious and seemingly reticent? Not familiar with that word. Warrior of the Northern Longblade Sword Art, who now stands before me? I would be happy to answer whatever questions you might require of me. Still, I must first say that I am afraid you are mistaken about my race, my dear. I am not certain that I understand, sir. I am a human, yes, but at the same time, I am not of this world, Elvenia. A living being from across the stars? Then, might you and your friends be those same 4 young strangers whom the elves say came from another world entirely several days ago? That we are. Unbelievable. To think that there really is another world out there sharing this seemingly vast and lonely universe with us Elvenians. I must admit that I never thought the possibility could be true. I am especially glad to have met you now, Mr. Dusk. I consider it an honor to cross paths with someone like you as well. How ironic that these 4 young men have stumbled into this world at almost precisely the same time that rumor comes of the Dark Lord setting his plans to assume control over Elvenia into motion at long last. What is with that thoughtful expression on your face, Miss Sarah? Sarah looks back up. Mr. Dusk, you and your friends are actually on this journey for a greater purpose other than just saving Sir Harrison. Am I correct? Goodness, aren't you clever? Giggle. It is true. The very same Lord of Darkness that the Elvenians seem to whisper of in such terror, I have come to put an end to. I simply cannot allow him to take away any more precious lives, or to cause any more chaos among the good people of this world any longer. I must do something to stop all of this senseless horror that already plagues much of Elvenia. You mean to say that you would fight against that horrid, awful monster, all for our sake? Have you come to care for Elvenia that much? Neither happiness nor peace will ever again return to this world unless the Lord of Darkness is stopped, right? And isn't it true that a girl such as yourself desires nothing but peace? I do not mean to judge you when I say this, sir, but you sound as though you are uncertain of the beliefs upheld by those who reveal the goddess of fate. Or is it simply that the goddess whom the people of your world serve may not be the same goddess? Dusk looks away. My world serves no higher being. I do try to follow the ways of the light as best as I know how, do not misunderstand, but I am afraid that I have never become acquainted with this deity whom the Elvenians know as the Goddess of Fate, nor can I quite understand this strange power that seems to so heavily radiate from you at this very moment. Is it a power that our enemies may actually fear even more than that of any sword? Love, I wonder? Okay, this is starting to get... And I was hoping I would be able to think of the word before I finish that sentence. Not mushy. Something similar. Beginning to get... cheesy. That is the word. Starting to get cheesy. That's okay though, I like cheese. Every Sunday night I have cheese and crackers. Mr. Dusk, you seem to be in such a state of unease as you speak those words of uncertainty. Please allow the burden of whatever thoughts might lie within your heart to be alleviated by a friend who cannot help but care. Then, please tell me, what is that belief? or seemingly redeeming power that you cling to with such will, even in a creation where, despite the presence of this goddess of fate and her good followers, the darkness still seems to haunt the lands unopposed. What exactly could be the cause of that seemingly naive expression of bliss in your eyes? Why, the power of love, of course! Of course. I can place my beliefs in nothing else whatsoever. Yet is your faith so adamant that, even were you to come face to face with the Lord of Darkness himself, you would not doubt in its power to save you from all that causes you to feel terror for even one fleeting moment? It is. That is all I needed to hear. That is precisely the cause of your being a far stronger person than I, for love is not destructive, but redeeming. It is the very essence of Sarah Winter's being, it seems. Mr. Dusk, could there be a greater belief than in one's caring for those around him or her? No, there isn't. I'm so glad to hear that. So, my words have left you with no more doubt? They have. Thank you. I am only too grateful to be of service, but might I impose a question upon you now? Please speak whatever is on your mind. I find this rather embarrassing to ask, but do you believe it to be possible that two people could fall forever in love upon the first moment they ever share glances? In other words, in layman's terms, do you believe in love at first sight? Dusk is lost in thought. Mr. Dusk? Dusk says with an embarrassed laugh. Ah, you really are quite an amusing lady, Miss Sarah. I'm sorry. I must sound rather silly having asked such a question. Not at all. I did not mean to imply that I think of you as naive. Yet, you would not happen to be referring to this ever so slightly tender moment that you and I are now sharing, would you? Well, yes. It seems as though you have become a bit fond of me, though I cannot imagine why. Or am I mistaken? No, not at all. I find your presence rather, comforting. Giggle, I feel the same way. I am quite humbled by those words. Perhaps what it is you and I have come to feel towards each other is simply a deep sense of regard for each other's well-being. At the very least, I am in no doubt that I would very willingly lay down my life to protect you from any form of evil that may wish harm upon you, my dear Sarah. I would be very grateful for such a measure of generosity, Mr. Dusk. Then, extend your hand, please, if you would be so gracious. Prithee, sir, how can you kiss this hand? Oh, that's what was happening. Okay. Dusk curiously says, is that an embarrassed blush that crosses your delicate face? Ah, how cute you are, Sarah. Well, that's the end of that cutscene. Okay, so I have to bring this up now. As I said, this game was created by two people, Lantis and Sarah's Knight. So, this scene just happened with Dusk and Sarah. Here's the interesting thing about this game. It started out as just one giant inside joke. In fact, Lantis and Sarah's Knight inserted themselves as characters in this game, along with some of their friends, which actually helps explain that whole Bella's restaurant situation that is the remaining part of the in-joke. But they eventually decided to take this game seriously and change the name of the characters. However, it is quite clear that there are other elements of this game that are based on our game creators. Lantis, I believe... Well, rather, Uri, I believe, is based on Lantis. And Dusk, quite clearly based on the game's writer, Sarah's Knight. So, kind of keep that in mind as we go along. Also, before we go early the next morning, I think it is time for our third and final episode break of today's stream. And when we come back, it'll be early the next morning.